Hey, Vinyl Community, Jeff here again, Mega Jeff. We're going to be talking about that. I wanted to get on this contest. I've had it on my list. I was running kind of crazy recently, and I didn't want to get too far behind on this, and so I wanted to jump on this. This is for Dreadful Rick over at Dreadful Minutes. This is his contest, passing 600 subscribers, and so he's doing this contest. At first, I watched his example. I've watched it more than once to get ideas of how he wants to use music to like get to know you or describe yourself, and he gave a lot of examples on things that relate to him, ways that relate to him in titles. And I was trying to I could never find, I kept thinking I need to dig into this deeper, but I'm just he found a lot of little connections from everything personality wise to stature to and all this. And I'm thinking, he did say you could do as few or as many as you want. And I'm thinking, I'm going to overthink this to the point where I'm probably never going to get done. So I'm going to get onto it. I got a few here to show. If it doesn't count, that's fine. He's given away some amazing prize packages, 2 different amazing prize packages. But this is more about support than it is necessarily, always about winning. So I just wanted to get something in to at least show some support. Check him out if you haven't. And check out the contest if you want to get on board. So anyway, let's get into this. So stuff, he did mention things that could describe like your channel name. He had the Dreadful Minutes. He was talking about things with dreadful in it, things with with minutes in it. So I don't think that everybody fully understands what I was going for with my channel name. Mega Jeff doesn't mean because I'm fat. I'm not meaning that I'm big. It's really just a play off of Megadeth. Mega Jeff. I even tried to use that in my logo when it comes across. It says that the Mega Jeff and vinyl are in the font, the Megadeth font. Maybe the connection's not as clear, but it was just kind of a joke. Hey, Megadeth, Mega Jeff. Mega Jeff kind of rolls off your tongue. That's where it was coming from, Mega Jeff. It's not Big Jeff or anything like that. And so anyway, Megadeth connects. Now, the rock hard vinyl, yeah, could it have been hard rock vinyl? Yeah, hard rock is a description of music. Heavy metal is a description of music. So none of those would really work because I don't cover just that. So what do I cover? I cover things that make you rock hard. It's all kinds of rocking on the hard side. Yes, people pick up on there could be sort of a silly, an innuendo there type name. I know Bobby Z loves the name. It makes him all excited. But anyway, yeah, that was probably somewhat intentional because it is kind of risque, but really it comes down to, I didn't want to say hard rock because that's like a single descriptor of music. I didn't want to say heavy metal because that's totally a single descriptor, and people would say, you don't even listen to heavy metal, you listen to glam and blah, 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 blah. So it had to be something, it's just like we rock, and we rock hard at this channel, though we do pop and stuff. And really, it kind of throws back from the Rod's album, Rock Hard. This is, and I'm sure they meant it to be, somewhat of a risque, but this has always kind of been in my mind. This is why I went that route, was because this album, has been in my history since the 80s. So, Mega Jeff's Rock Hard vinyl. So, because yes, people do know back when I first started the channel, it was McCormack, which people didn't get. That's because my name is McCormack, McCormack. All I did was swap a couple letters, MCROC. I took the R, MCCOR, and I swapped the R with the C, MC McROC, McRock Mac. And that went over people's heads too. So that's when I realized I need to change my name because they were mispronouncing it, not quite getting the connection there. So I did change it from back in the day. And speaking of last name, Phil McCormack. When I found out that there was, I'm sure there were other ones, but in my heyday, when Phil McCormack took over in Molly Hatchet, I thought, hey, there is actually somebody out there, because McCormick, very common, McCormack, not very common. And so when you find a McCormack, it's a little more rare, so it tends to stand out. And when I hear about Phil McCormack in Molly Hatchet, there's a connection there, and that's always kind of resonated with me. So, you know, and there are probably other examples. I just didn't have anything in my collection, I think, to show that. Anyway, so yeah, are we related? Who knows? Anyway, so that's it. So the rest of these are going to be loosely relatable to me. One, you've probably seen me show 1,000 times before. My start in rock and roll, I connected this album because this is where it started for me in 1978. I picked up this album. I'm going with 78 now. I thought it was 77, but I'm pretty much going with 78 because I'm pretty sure it had to be in the early 78 when I finally discovered this album, because Alive 2 was either already out or just on it, because it was, I remember vividly displays as a kid of that album on display at the record stores. I still remember that, walking into Montgomery Ward's and seeing Alive 2. So it had just come out, was just coming out, so it had to be right around there. Anyway, I was barely 12 years old. This would have been the first introduction into any kind of hard rock. Prior to this, I've told before, prior to this, I listened to the Bee Gees and Andy Gibb and Saturday Night Fever and Grease. I had all the Grease singles, all that stuff. So that was most of my musical taste. And then through a friend who played, we sat in their room and listened. See, this is the other thing. I'm pretty sure we listened to Alive 2 when I first heard Kiss. We played Shock Me, and we kind of made fun of the way Ace sang. Shock Me, I went out to get this album because of Shock Me. So Ace and Shock Me are the reason I got into Kiss. That's why I bought Love Gun. This is where I started for me. For me, everything, this is the pivotal point of my life. So that's very much connected to me. Now, you move on to other pivotal points in life. Stryper is the first band in 1984 that I got into. I was brought up in the church. I was brought up as a good church kid, but I listened to heavy metal. I listened to Motley Crue and Kiss and all of that stuff. And in 84, I discovered a band that actually could compete with what I was listening to, because people kept trying to turn me on to Petra and Res Band, and I was impressed with Res Band, but still, none of these guys were anything in comparison to the stuff I was listening to until Stryper came along. And they just grabbed my heart and made a major life change, and they're still around, and they still blowing me away. But anyway, so this is very much ingrained and very much a part of me. Saw them in concert probably 5 or 6 times between 85 and 86. Met them quite a few times backstage. They were just like so much a first love back in the day. So very connected there. And this one's going to be a loose one. He mentioned, Rick had mentioned, this guy, because of his stature, he's a little shorter, blah, 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 things like that. And I'm thinking, okay, the only thing I could think of similar to that, and this would be a little later in life. So, I don't know, I kind of throw back to this. If you're into rock and roll, if you're into heavy metal, if you're into that, almost every drummer is skinny. They look like they're, probably because they're strung out on drugs, I don't know. Skinny, not eating, just they tend to be. There's not many chunky drummers. I'm a chunky drummer. Whatever. I'm just thinking, well, whatever. I'm a little chunky. So, but not saying he's always chunky, but I did notice in the day that Y&T, that the late Leonard Hayes was a little bit overweight. And so anyway, that was just, to me, it was like, you can do it. It's great. Anyway, that's it. Just a quick little contest there. Just wanted to get involved, and I'm not going to go stretching out too far. Thanks for watching. Rock on, rock hard. Check out the contest link below, and we'll see you later.